Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, Part 2. The sunlight warmed the riverbank, where Alice slowly opened her eyes, her breath rising in a soft, dreamy sigh. For a moment, she simply lay still, half suspended between the fading echo of Wonderland and the gentle quiet of the real world. The fluttering leaves overhead swayed in slow, familiar patterns, so different from the shimmering chaos she had just escaped. Yet her fingertips tingled, as if they still clutched at invisible cards swirling in a storm. Her sister watched her with patient amusement. "You were fast asleep," she said. "You looked as though you were dreaming something quite lively." Alice pushed herself upright, brushing her hair from her face. Her voice held a touch of wonder. "I had the strangest dream. There was a white rabbit with a watch, and a queen who wanted to cut off heads. And I kept growing and shrinking." Her sister's soft laugh rang like a bell. "What an imagination you have!" Alice glanced down at her hands as if expecting to find a bottle marked, "Drink me," or a bit of mushroom still tucked in her palm. But they were empty. Even so, some deep part of her knew she had touched something unusual, something that felt more than a dream, though she could not explain why. She stood and stretched her arms, letting the warm breeze brush against her sleeves. Her gaze drifted toward the gentle river, the rippling water dancing like threads of light. As she stared at it, memories of Wonderland rose again, bright, wild, impossible, and utterly captivating. It was as though the dream clung to her thoughts, refusing to fade quietly away. Walking slowly along the bank, she let her mind replay every strange encounter with surprising clarity. The mouse splashing indignantly away at the mention of Dinah, the dodo's pompous announcement of everyone winning the race, the tea party that spiraled into riddles with no answers, the Duchess and her pepper-filled kitchen, the caterpillar lounging on his mushroom, exhaling shimmering rings that twisted into playful shapes, the Cheshire cat grinning from thin air, the queen shouting orders into the wind. Every scene returned with colors richer than memory usually allowed. It was as if Wonderland had stitched itself into her imagination, refusing to untangle. As she walked, Alice felt a thought forming quietly in the back of her mind, that Wonderland, in all its contradictions and shifting shapes, had been a reflection of something inside her, a place where confusion and curiosity lived side by side. She remembered how often she had felt puzzled during the dream, how grown-ups in her real life sometimes made rules that seemed just as strange as the queen's, how she had tried to make sense of things that didn't add up. Wonderland, for all its wild nonsense, somehow felt familiar, for that reason alone. She stopped near a willow tree whose branches dipped into the water like long fingertips. The river carried bits of leaves that drifted in spirals, reminding her of the cards swirling around her in that dream's last chaotic moment. She traced the thought gently. No matter how confusing Wonderland had been, she had found her voice at the end. Something inside her, courage perhaps, had risen stronger than she expected. Faced with the queen's fury, she had not shrunk or trembled. She had spoken boldly, even as the courtroom erupted into madness. In the quiet of the riverbank, that realization warmed her. Growing up, she thought, must feel a little like growing taller in Wonderland, awkward, frightening, strange, but a part of her was proud of how she had handled it. She felt different now, not quite older, but changed in a small, important way. Her sister's voice drifted toward her. "You look deep in thought." Alice turned with a soft, bright smile. "I'm thinking about, well, everything. About Wonderland." Her sister patted the grass beside her. Alice sat, and they watched a dragonfly glide across the surface of the water, wings glinting in the sunlight. As the creature darted upward, Alice's imagination fluttered with it. Perhaps Wonderland wasn't a place she could physically return to, but she could feel its nearness in moments like these, in drifting clouds, in dancing reflections, in the small mysteries of the world. She lay back, eyes to the sky, and let the memories swirl freely. She pictured the crooked little house of the White Rabbit, with its narrow rooms and frantic scrambling, the caterpillar's slow words echoing inside her like a riddle meant to be solved later. The way the Queen's garden glowed with impossible colors, the mesmerizing appearance and disappearance of the Cheshire Cat, always watching with a knowing smile. Even the trial seemed amusing now, though she had been frightened at the time. The absurd questions, the shouting, the contradiction of rules, it all felt like a wildly painted stage play created purely to test her patience, and she had passed in the end. Her sister looked at her curiously. "And what did you learn in that dream of yours?" Alice grew thoughtful. "I think I learned that even when things make no sense, it's important to speak up for yourself and to keep asking questions and to trust what feels right." Her sister smiled warmly. "That is a very wise dream." Alice rose again, brushing off bits of grass, and looked across the meadow. The afternoon sun had shifted lower, softening the colors of the world into warm golden hues. The wind hummed lightly, almost as if whispering secrets to her. She felt lighter with every passing moment. As they started walking home together, Alice found herself glancing back at the river. For a fleeting heartbeat, she thought she saw something small and white flicker near the reeds. A quick movement, like the twitch of a rabbit's tail. She blinked, focusing sharply. But whatever it had been was gone. Even so, a gentle comfort bloomed in her chest. Perhaps it didn't matter whether she truly saw the rabbit or imagined it. What mattered was the feeling that Wonderland was never entirely out of reach. It was something she carried with her now, stitched into her imagination, glowing softly whenever she let her mind wander. She squeezed her sister's hand lightly as they continued along the winding path home. Her thoughts drifted with bright possibility. She could already sense stories forming in her mind, new adventures she might dream up, new realms she might explore in her own imagination. The world around her felt awake, enchanted, as if it held countless tiny doorways she had simply never noticed before. Any flower might speak if she listened closely enough. Any shadow beneath a tree might giggle or grin. Any small movement among the reeds might be a character hurrying to a very important date. She smiled, her heart warm and full. Wonderland wasn't just a dream. It was a way of seeing, a way of wondering, a way of being brave in a confusing world. And she knew she would return to it, not by falling through a rabbit hole, but by letting her imagination carry her whenever she wished. As the evening light softened the landscape, Alice walked on with her sister, feeling quietly stronger, quietly wiser, and endlessly hopeful. Somewhere inside her mind, the distant echo of laughter and whimsy drifted like a soft melody. Wonderland lived within her now, and she felt certain she would carry it always.